Simmone, the stage is virtually yours, but as we do in the Caribbean, let's get a little soca now.
This is my fight song. Take back
On
my
it.
life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Stop me right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight.
And we're making sure that we can hear you because we're seeing you, but your mic is muted.
Yes,
Good morning.
now I have permission to speak. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Is everybody loud over there? We are loud here in the Bahamas. I really am sorry that I cannot be there in person. I had every intention, but you know, life is lifing. And so I am grateful that I'm still able to be in the room with all of you. And I have a confession to make. And are you ready for my confession? And I'll see if I have any company over there. My name is Simmone, and I need a better relationship with data. Do I have anybody who will join me in my confession? Do you need a better relationship with data in HR? I can tell you that over the last couple of years, even though we find ourselves around data all the time, the focus of using data has been limited. And so, like many of you, we may gather data informally and even formally, but how many of us use it, analyze it, and leverage it so that our organizations are ahead of the curve of change and innovation? Across the region, we are dealing with generational shifts. Is anybody frustrated with Gen Z? I mean, I'm only hearing things about, oh my goodness, they don't like to work. They don't want to come to work. What is work? Why do we have to work? Not interested in leadership. When are the baby boomers going home? Why can't they notice us Gen Xers and millennials? Hey, we're here. Do something about it, right? We are dealing with post-COVID changes to work, right? Remote work, flexi work, all of the other dynamics that COVID has brought to us. We are finding, growing, retaining top talent and wondering, how do we do that as industries expand and the workforce becomes more competitive? And how do we develop and retain effective leaders and move them through successfully through succession planning? These are ways that we gather data and use them to shift our organizations. PwC Caribbean conducted a Caribbean Digital Readiness Survey in 2024. And this is just one of the results that I want to share that I feel is pertinent to our conversation today. 17% of companies in the study use data analytics to guide decision-making. That's not even 50%. That's not even 20%. So it means then, HR superheroes, we have an opportunity here. This quote I love by W. Edwards Deming: without data, you're just another person with an opinion. And who can speak to that better than HR professionals? We who have to fight. And this is why I had the fight song at the beginning. We have to fight to be heard. We have to fight for our voices to be relevant. And what makes our voices relevant is the strength and the foundation of utilizing data in our leadership conversations. So how do we get there? The pathway to data optimization is 3 ways that I'd like to share. And I want to give a big up to my homegirl from Trinidad and Tobago, an amazing people analytics and employee experience guru, Khalifa Oliver, who is the author of I Think I Love My Job. Great book, recommended for anyone who wants to elevate their employee experience. And she says the biggest value proposition for any successfully executed people analytics program is in its ability to help business solve critical problems. One of the things that I recognized, especially as you elevate in HR, is that the business is demanding that we are strategic. The business is demanding that we speak to the needs of the operation and that we are able to help them navigate what the business is trying to achieve. And so how do we do this? We do this first by learning. What is your data telling you? As I mentioned before, we are always gathering data all the time. What I find, though, especially in my experiences, is that it has been mostly anecdotal. So people come into the HR office and they're talking and they're talking, they're venting, they're sharing concerns, they're sharing ideas. And when we hear enough of those stories, then we begin to say, I think we have a problem, right? Or I think that there needs an intervention for this particular situation, or we need to take some sort of action. So through this, we must learn through listening to our stakeholders, listening to our customers. What's the customer feedback? What's the service levels that they're sharing about our performance and service delivery? We must listen to our communities. What are they saying about our footprint in the communities that we serve? We must listen to our operational leaders. This is critical, particularly as HR professionals. They often tell us, you're out of touch. You don't know what we're dealing with. This is why I need this person to start like right now, right? And so we need to listen to them, and we need to listen to our teams. And how do we listen to our teams? We listen through engagement surveys, through exit surveys, through stay surveys, through performance review results, through attendance metrics, sales scores. All of these are ways that we can pay attention to what our organization is telling us. The second way that we can make our way to optimizing data in our organizations is to turn these data insights into action. As I said before, senior leadership, C-suite, that's what they want to know. How are you going to now utilize this data? It's okay for you to say, all right, these are our exit interview results, but what's the trend? Why is it peaking in this particular department? Help us to go deeper. Is it the leadership of that department? Is it a compensation issue? Is it an age issue? What is it? So we need to optimize the data that we're gathering so that we can come up with strategies to support the organization and the objectives. And one of the things that I've found is that we must be proactive rather than reactive. We can't be the voice at the table that says, well, if you had listened to us, this wouldn't have happened. We have to be the voice at the table that says, I see this coming. This is what I've discovered through this data, and this is the strategy that I would recommend moving forward. And finally, we want to align. We want to align our organizations by building a culture of evidence-based HR. So yes, the stories are important, but how do we now get our organization accustomed to participating in data gathering, in optimizing the data that we have through perhaps creating new programs, whether that's learning, whether that's wellness, right? Identifying that through the attendance metrics that people are burning out, and we need to either amend our work schedules or provide support. How do we target future leaders, high potentials in our organization? How do we identify where there is cultural misalignment and get people to now trust the people data that we gather and to use it for our benefit? And then do we celebrate the decisions that are made based on the data that's been provided? And so we want to be the ones in HR, our HR leaders who are in the room and online today, the ones who are the catalyst for change and innovation in our organization. So what is our call to action today? Our call to action today is that data is the map and not the destination. This is not a competition for who has the prettiest dashboards. This is about how we use the data as a roadmap to take us to a thriving, transformative workplace. We are using the data to get better. Secondly, HR must be curious and courageous. So we can't be afraid to ask the questions that nobody else wants to ask in the room. We have to be the ones to drive the curiosity. And then we have to be bold and loud in our organizations when we are now presenting not only results, but also strategies. And finally, we want to base our decisions on truth, not just tradition. There is a place for tradition and there is a place for the stories, but we must ensure that we are backing up the stories with actionable, proven, factual data. And so as I close today, I want to close with this quote by one of the greatest innovators of our time, Steve Jobs. And he said, innovation is not about saying yes to everything. It's about saying yes to the right things, guided by insight. So as we continue to move forward in our conference over the next few days, I hope that this very short charge will help us all to get ready for change, for transformation, for innovation throughout our region and beyond. And as the great Cass says, are you ready? Are you ready for it? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Simmone. The soca came in eventually, y'all. It came
I
in
had to put in
eventually.
the soca. I had to put the soca in.
Yeah, at the right time. But I really appreciate how you gave us the opportunity to bridge the gap because data is always something that we don't humanize. I mean, it's numbers, it is what it is. So she gave us some things we could actually use. And it's going to continue to be that way. And don't worry, we will put it into action. You see those bingo cards? Remember what she said. But anybody immediately has a takeaway? Anybody immediately is ready to put something into action, something they could use, a quote? Newcomers, anything that stayed with you immediately? And they all look down on their notepads. I like that. Make use of those pens that we got as we registered. And I will check in with you from time to time. But in that case, Simmone, thank you for joining us. I'm going to move straight on to our next speaker.